Now we're going to take a look at the chemical properties of alcohols, meaning the reactions. But before we start the reactions, let's talk about how do we make these alcohols. If you remember, there were two different functional groups that directly make an alcohol. We saw when we hydrated alkenes. So alkenes could undergo hydration, meaning you can add water or steam and you could make alcohols. That was one. And the second was halogenoalkanes. When halogenoalkanes, you had a hydrolysis reaction with alkalis, let's say with hot alkali like NaOH, you could also make alcohols. That's where they come from generally, if you have other compounds making them. For example, alkenes have a carbon-carbon double bond, and you can add an H and an OH. An H and an OH. And the conditions were steam and dilute H3PO4. Remember? I'm repeating it because maybe this is where you remember it. With heat and high pressure. We call this hydration of alcohols. Okay? Hydration of alkenes. It makes alcohols. And across a carbon-carbon double bond, you add an H and OH. And we know there's a reverse reaction for this also. We've seen that in alkenes also. And in halogenoalkanes, we saw that also. That was, you take any halogen, let's say Rx, any halogen, and you add, let's say, NaOH aqueous, and you heat it. The RH becomes ROH. The X gets replaced. If you remember, the first reaction was electrophilic addition mechanism. And the second reaction is nucleophilic substitution. That's the way they react. And electrophilic addition, and the subcategory of that was, you could say, it was hydration. Adding of water is called hydration. Nucleophilic substitution with water is called hydrolysis also. So second type of reaction, if you want to call it something more than just nucleophilic substitution, because they will use the words in English. Hey, hydrolysis of halogenoalkanes. You should realize they're talking about this particular reaction. So that's how we make alcohols. There are other compounds, other functional groups that make alcohols too. We'll see them later. We have, they're coming up ahead. Carbonyl compounds make alcohols. Acids can also make alcohols. We'll get there. Okay. But this is two of the four ways. This is just a reminder, a recap. Then we take a look at alcohol reactions. Okay. And that's where the fun bit is. There's some easy reactions and then some more difficult reactions. I'll start with the easy ones first. Okay. Now, one of the first reactions we probably have recognized this from last year also is alcohols can undergo combustion. So the first reaction we'll come across is combustion. And they combust just like alkanes and alkenes do. You take any alcohol and you heat it in oxygen, it ends up making carbon dioxide and water. Depending on how many carbons you have. This is not a balanced equation. For example, let's take CH3, CH2OH. Ethanol combusting is a very popular reaction. We call it a clean fuel because it has a low amount of carbon in it. And it burns to give form carbon dioxide and water, and you'll end up making 2 carbon dioxides and 3 waters. And you balance this out, you get 3 oxygens. And this also is exothermic, and it's a good fuel. It's a cleaner fuel than petrol and diesel is. Okay. But they'll produce a little less energy than petrol, diesel, but they're also good fuels. So they can act as good fuels. You can have even larger alcohols do that. So any alcohol burns in oxygen to form carbon dioxide and water. Okay. And almost all organic compounds do that. You have alkenes, alkanes, alcohols. You have carboxylic acids that will do that also. So the reason why this burns nicer is because it already has 1 oxygen. You just have to add some more. For the same number of carbon atoms, let's say you had an ethane, and you would make still the same amount of carbon dioxide and water, but you need a slightly more oxygen. You need 3.5 moles of oxygen. So that's a good way to measure the difference. An alcohol just requires a little less oxygen because it already has some oxygen in it. And because of that also, it produces a little less energy also, but it's also more cleaner because it requires less oxygen, less chance of incomplete combustion. So that's one thing you got to remember. Okay? But easy reaction. The next thing is, okay, new reactions of alcohols. So the second reaction I'm going to talk to you guys about is, this is the reaction with sodium. Now sodium is a very highly reactive metal. For this, you might remember this reaction. Is that if you remember, sodium as an element, when I added that to cold water, if you remember from your last year, it would have a very highly exothermic reaction, would make NaOH and give off hydrogen gas. You might remember that. And the way that works is that Na reacts with HOH. So H2O is really H bonded to an OH. So I'm actually trying to get a color here, H bonded to, let's say, blue, OH. And what happens is, and remember, NaOH is an ionic compound. So it forms an ionic compound Na, and this OH combines here. That's what's happening. And the other H, the green one, is what's given off as hydrogen gas. This is a redox reaction. Okay? Sodium goes from oxidation state 0 to -1, a +1, and hydrogen goes from +1 to 0. So it's a redox reaction. Now, a similar reaction occurs for alcohol. Similar reaction. The difference is that think of the blue H, instead of the blue H you have an alcohol, because what's an alcohol? Alcohols are ROHs, right? So if I do the same thing, I say, hey, I got Na and I got ROH, but the H of the ROH is the green one that gets given off, and I've got OR. You see, I've just changed the order, the writing order, and it makes Na plus and OR minus, and H2 is given off. Now in organic chemistry we just simply write this not like this but like this. It's the same reaction, by the way. These two are the same reaction, the one on top and one on the bottom, and these two are the same reaction. The way we write this is we write, okay, ROH, and generally we write the organic compound first. It's RO minus Na plus. It becomes an ionic compound. It's called sodium alkoxide. Now why is it called alkoxide? The alk will be whatever, how many number of carbons we have will be named. We'll talk about the names in a minute. And the green hydrogen is given off as hydrogen gas.
Quick pause. If you're finding value in this explanation, there's so much more to discover at Alt Academy, where we break down every A-level concept with the same clarity. Now back to the video lesson.
And generally alcohol is a liquid, just like water was a liquid. So if I ask you, if you remember, you had bubbles of hydrogen gas released. It's highly exothermic. With alcohol, it's a similar reaction, but not as exothermic. It's still exothermic, but not so exothermic. But it'll happen at room temperature. You don't even need to heat it. And it forms this salt, this ionic compound. Okay? This reaction is slower with alcohols than it is with water, but it's a very popular reaction. In fact, it's not an alcohol reaction, is any OH group, and Na does this. To prove that to you, and you'll see this in organic chemistry ahead, is that even another compound that has an OH group, which is carboxylic acids. Remember carboxylic acids? So they have OH. They also undergo a same reaction. The Na kicks out the H. And we'll do this again in acids, but I'm just showing you that the reaction is the same, be it an alcohol's OH or an acid's OH. And you give hydrogen gas. So if you have an OH, a hydroxyl group on any organic compound, you can then make that react with sodium metal or even potassium metal, a group 1 metal. Sodium or potassium. They have to be highly reactive metals. And it's a redox reaction and hydrogen gas is given off. And It's a very common reaction they give, because what happens is this is also a reaction they test out in terms of moles calculations. Because for every one OH group that you have, you give a half a mole of hydrogen. So for example, if I combine the two reactions I just showed you, that hey, what if my organic compound has two OH groups? Let me show you what I mean. That has an OH on the second carbon, and the third carbon has an acid group, COOH. If you notice, I'm coloring the H differently just so that I can highlight that to you. So when this reacts with OH, your goal is to understand that in this organic compound that I've drawn, and I'll duplicate that, both the H's are kicked out. This H is kicked out, this H is kicked out. And the O's get a negative charge. And when they get a negative charge, they'll bond to Na here and Na there. It becomes an ionic salt. And each H is given out as half H2. So you'll actually have 2 of half H2s given out. Okay? Which becomes 1H2, which is obviously that you guys can do the math, but I wanted to make it a little more obvious, right? So the idea is that no matter how many OHs you have, each OH will react with sodium, and therefore you'll need 2 sodiums. So this way this balances out is that you need 2 sodiums here. It's not a very difficult reaction to recognize, but it's a very important reaction. That for every OH group I have an organic compound, I can add sodium. It'll give me half a mole of hydrogen gas for every OH group. And visible, there's also visible change, because I'm going to see bubbles of gas. Why? Because the organic compounds will be liquid and hydrogen will be made in the organic compound. That would be liquid or aqueous in there. And you'll see bubbles of gas. So this is a very important reaction for you to recognize. Now, if you have a very large molecule, like say for example, I say, hey, how many NAs will need to react with this guy? So I make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm making skeletal because I can. And there is a branch right there. There's a branch right there. Okay. And there is a branch right there. Right there. And there is an OH there, an OH there, and OH there. So this compound, I ask you, hey, how many sodiums? Or in fact, the last one can be C double bond O, OH. If you want to know the structural formula for this is CH3 on a C with an OH and a CH3 and a CHOH, CH2, COOH. So how many sodiums will this react with? Now you have 1, 2, 3 OH groups. So it'll react with 3 sodiums. And how many hydrogens will it make? For every one OH makes half a mole. So for 3 it'll make 1.5. 3 times half is 1.5. So 1.5 moles of hydrogen gas. Alright? And obviously you can make the product in between if you want to. It's the same product. I'll take this fellow. I'll duplicate that here. What we'll do is we'll erase the OH. That is it. It's gone. It's gone. So now you have 2 salts on the alcohol and 1 on the acid, and you got Na here plus Na here plus Na here plus. The names are not going to be important for you. It's just the number of sodiums and the number of hydrogen gases is what's important. And the observation. The observation is bubbles of gas are seen. Okay. And so when you add sodium to an organic compound and you get bubbles of gas, that's a test that the organic compound has an OH group. It could be an acid or alcohol, but it becomes a test. This is also a test for the OH group. The OH group is in alcohol or acid. So you can't be definite which of the 2 functional groups it is, but it is going to narrow it down. No other organic compound will create bubbles with sodium. Okay. Okay, so we look at a third reaction for alcohols. This one you've also seen before. This is, reaction number 3. It is Alkenes from alcohols. Now you've seen this reaction before. You take an alcohol, you can take any alcohol, let's say CH3, CH2OH, and you can convert it into an alkene and give off water. It's dehydration, and either you can heat it with Al2,3 and heat, or you could do it with concentrated sulfuric acid and heat. Now this we've seen before, and but for this you need, what is the condition you need? The condition is very important, that the carbon that has the OH, so I'll do that again, the carbon that has the OH has to have an adjacent carbon that has an H. So it won't work with every alcohol, but it'll have to work with those alcohols that have another carbon with an adjacent H, and then only can you remove and make a carbon-carbon double bond, okay, and give off water. Now for example, what if you were given this molecule, okay, I'm going to make this. Think about this. Come on, erase. Okay. Look at the molecule I've made. First of all, can you classify this as a particular alcohol? Well, this has CH2OH, so it's a primary alcohol. But if I add, let's say, concentrated sulfuric acid and heat, there will be no reaction here. You know why? Because the carbon that has the OH, its adjacent carbon doesn't have an H. The adjacent carbon has a carbon, carbon and carbon, 3 carbons directly on it. You say, can I not use this? No, it has to be a hydrogen on the adjacent carbon. So the adjacent carbon, this one that I've just circled, this has to have an H. And it doesn't. So this will have no reaction. So you have to have an alcohol with a carbon that has the OH, its adjacent carbon has to have an H. That condition has to be met for this to take place. Okay, and this is a very popular question they give in a lot of MCQs, because they'll want to make all different kinds of alkenes. And again, this we already seen in alkenes already, but I'm bringing it out here also for you to see. Okay, you've done this before, but remember these things. All right, now we look at other reactions of alcohols coming up next. Hey there, if you found this A-level chemistry lesson helpful, why don't you head over to our website altacademy.org, where you can sign up for the full A-level chemistry course. In addition to chemistry, you can sign up for physics, biology, math, or 4 other A-level subjects. Thousands of students have already taken the leap. What are you waiting for?